Do you ever feel like you're falling behind? Like no matter how hard you try, everyone around you seems to be doing better. Speaking better English, building successful lives, showing progress, while you're stuck in the same place. You scroll through your phone and see people sharing their achievements, new jobs, new businesses, new skills, new lives. And you can't help but ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Why am I not improving like them? Let me tell you something powerful. Nothing is wrong with you. You're not behind. You're not untalented. You're just in the quiet part of your journey, the part that no one shows online. The truth is, no one becomes great overnight. Every expert you admire, whether they're a fluent English speaker, a successful entrepreneur, or a confident creator, was once a beginner. They made mistakes, they felt frustrated, and they doubted themselves, just like you. You see, greatness is not built in the spotlight. It's built in silence. It's built in early mornings when no one claps for you, in late nights when you're tired but you keep practicing, in those boring hours when motivation disappears but you still show up. That's where real growth begins. Think about learning English, for example. You don't become fluent because of luck or talent. You become fluent because of consistent practice. Listening, repeating, speaking, and learning every single day. At first, your words may sound broken. Your accent might feel strange. You might forget simple vocabulary. But that's part of the process. Every fluent speaker you see today has gone through that same messy stage. The difference is they didn't stop.
Let me share a story. When Michael Jordan was in high school, he wasn't chosen for the basketball team. He cried that night because he felt like a failure. But instead of quitting, he decided to train harder than anyone else. Every single day, he practiced. He worked on his weaknesses. He studied his mistakes, and he pushed himself beyond comfort. Years later, he became one of the greatest athletes in history, not because he was born with talent, but because he refused to give up. It's the same with you. Whether you want to master English, become a speaker, learn design, or start your own business, remember this: you don't need to be born gifted. You just need to stay obsessed with getting better. You don't need 10 skills or perfect conditions. You just need one thing: discipline. The discipline to show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. So today, stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. Stop saying, "I'm not talented." Instead, start saying, "I'm still learning." Because every master was once where you are right now, uncertain, unpolished, and invisible. But they stayed consistent, and that's how they became great.
This video will guide you through the path of mastery, step by step. You'll learn how to stay focused, how to improve every day, how to train in silence, and how to build your dream skill from zero to mastery. But for now, remember this: you are not behind. You are simply becoming. Keep going, because your time is coming. Most people never become truly great at something because they try to do everything at once. They want to learn English, start a YouTube channel, get fit, start a business, and read 10 books all at the same time. But when you give only a small piece of your energy to many things, you end up improving at none of them. Imagine trying to fill 10 cups with a single bottle of water. You'll only end up with a few drops in each. That's what happens when you spread yourself too thin. Real masters do something different. They pick one thing and go all in. They give it their full focus, their full time, and their full heart. They climb one mountain at a time. That's the secret to mastery. Bruce Lee once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." What he meant is that repetition and focus are far more powerful than variety and distraction.
Let's take an example. Suppose your goal is to speak English fluently. You don't need 10 different apps, 5 different teachers, or 20 study methods. You need one simple plan and consistency. Maybe you decide that every day you'll listen to English for 20 minutes, repeat out loud, and record yourself speaking. If you do that for a year, your progress will shock you. But if you keep jumping between apps, skipping days, and starting new methods every week, you'll stay in the same place. Focus is what turns effort into excellence. Think about the sun. When its light spreads everywhere, it feels warm. But when that same light is focused through a magnifying glass, it can start a fire. Your mind works the same way. Scattered focus warms nothing, but sharp focus can create results that feel like magic. Here's what usually happens to most learners. They get excited for a few days, they practice English on Monday, maybe again on Tuesday, but by Friday, they stop. Then they feel guilty on Sunday and promise to start again next week. This cycle repeats for months or even years. The problem isn't ability, it's scattered focus. So here's the challenge. Choose one skill and give it everything you've got. If it's English, then make it your world. Watch English videos, think in English, speak to yourself in English, even write your thoughts in English. Let it surround you. If it's video editing, then study one software deeply and create something every day, even if it's short. Masters don't chase everything. They choose one thing and chase it with fire in their soul. Ask yourself, if I could become amazing at one thing in the next few years, what would it be? Once you know that, focus completely. Forget the noise. Forget trying to impress others. Just give your best to that one skill. The world is full of people who know a little about everything, but the ones who change their lives are the ones who become extraordinary at something. And that begins the moment you stop scattering your energy and start focusing it. Here's a truth most people never realize. What you do on the days you don't feel like doing anything defines who you become. Anyone can work hard when they're motivated. Anyone can study English when they feel inspired or practice when things are exciting. But real mastery begins when you keep going even when it's boring, tiring, or quiet, when nobody is watching or cheering you on. Let's be honest. There will be days when you'll wake up tired. You'll think, maybe I'll skip practice today. It's just one day. But one day becomes 2, Two become a week, and before you know it, you've lost the rhythm. That's why the most successful people in the world don't wait for motivation. They train their minds to show up, no matter how they feel. There's a famous writer named James Clear. Before anyone knew his name, he woke up every morning at 4:30 a.m. to write. No audience, no fame, no money, just quiet effort. He wrote every single day for years before his book, Atomic Habits, became one of the most influential books in the world. That book changed millions of lives, but it was built in silence, through discipline, not luck. If you want to master English, or anything, you must treat it the same way. Don't wait for the perfect mood. There's no perfect time. The right time is when you decide to start. Even if you only practice for 20 minutes a day, make it a habit. Because consistency beats intensity. A small daily effort is more powerful than a big effort once in a while. Think of it like planting a seed. You can't water it once a week and expect it to grow fast. You have to give it small drops every day. That's how habits work. Every day you study, even a little, you're training your brain, shaping your accent, and improving your confidence, bit by bit.
And when you show up daily, something magical starts to happen. Your fear gets smaller. Your voice becomes stronger. Your confidence grows naturally. You stop saying, "I hope I get better," and start saying, "This is who I am now." You become the kind of person who keeps promises to themselves. Say this to yourself: "I am the kind of person who shows up every day, even if I'm tired, even if I'm not perfect, even if no one sees me." Because mastery doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for presence. Remember, the version of you dream about, the fluent speaker, the confident leader, the skilled creator, that version is already working hard somewhere inside you. Every time you show up, you move closer to meeting them. Don't stop just because it's hard. Keep showing up, even in silence. Because one day, that quiet work will speak louder than any words. Let's face it, if mastery were easy, everyone would have it. But they don't. Because most people want results without patience, progress without time, and skill without sweat. They want to speak fluent English in 1 month, build a business in a few weeks, or become successful overnight. But that's not how greatness works.
There's a powerful truth you must understand. Mastery takes time. Real experts spend thousands of hours practicing their craft. Psychologists call it the 10,000-hour rule. It means that to become world-class at anything, whether it's playing guitar, speaking English, or becoming a great public speaker, you need around 10,000 hours of deliberate, focused practice. That's about 3 hours a day for 10 years, or 5 hours a day for 5 years. It's a long time, but that's the price of greatness. Think about some of the greatest names in history. The Beatles played in small clubs in Germany for years before anyone even knew their name. Every night, they performed for hours perfecting their sound. By the time they became famous, they already had thousands of hours of experience behind them. That's why when success finally came, they were ready for it. Or take Kobe Bryant, one of the most dedicated athletes in the world. He would practice for hours before sunrise every single day. When others were sleeping, he was training. When others were resting, he was improving. That's not talent, it's obsession. It's thousands of hours spent in silence while no one was watching.
Now, let's bring this idea back to you. If you give just 1 hour a day to mastering English, that's 365 hours a year. 2 hours a day? That's 730 hours. In 3 years, you'll be miles ahead of people who only practice once in a while. The progress will be invisible at first, but it's happening underneath, like roots growing before a tree breaks through the ground. The mistake most learners make is that they quit too early. They study for a week, get tired, and think, I'm not improving. But mastery doesn't reward beginners. It rewards believers. You must keep showing up long enough for your results to appear. So instead of asking, how long will it take? Ask yourself, how far can I go if I don't stop? Don't chase speed, chase consistency. Track your hours. Celebrate small wins. Focus on the journey, not the clock. Because the truth is, the longer you stay in the game, the more unstoppable you become.
From this point on, promise yourself, I will give my hours. I will pay the price. I will be patient. Because every single hour I invest is building the version of me that the world hasn't met yet. And when that version finally arrives, everyone will call it talent, but you'll know it was time, effort, and quiet hours that built it. There's a beautiful philosophy from Japan called Kaizen, and it has changed the way the most successful people and companies grow. Kaizen means continuous improvement, getting just a little better every single day. Not by 100%, not by 10%, but by just 1%. It sounds small, but it's powerful beyond imagination. Here's the math. If you improve yourself by just 1% every day for a year, you won't be twice as good. You'll be 37 times better. That's how small, steady growth works. But most people never experience it because they expect too much too fast. They want perfect English in 2 weeks, six-pack abs in 10 days, a successful business in a month, and when it doesn't happen quickly, they give up. That's where Kaizen becomes your secret weapon. It teaches you that small progress is still progress. You don't have to speak perfectly today. You just need to speak a little better than yesterday. You don't need to memorize 100 new words. Just learn and use 5. You don't need to sound like a native speaker right now. Just reduce one small mistake each day. That's Kaizen in action.
Think of how Toyota became one of the world's best car companies. It wasn't because of one big idea. It was because every single employee, from top to bottom, was focused on improving tiny things every day. A worker might notice a half-second delay in the assembly line and fix it,
A manager might rewrite one sentence in a safety checklist to make it clearer. Tiny changes, but done daily. Over time, those small adjustments created massive quality and efficiency. Now, imagine applying Kaizen to your own life. If you're learning English, ask yourself simple questions every night. What did I learn today? What got easier? What still confuses me? How can I be just 1% better tomorrow? Maybe you'll improve your pronunciation of one word. Maybe you'll speak one extra sentence aloud. Maybe you'll understand one new phrase from a movie. It might seem small, but over months, it transforms you. Here's a simple story. A student once decided to learn English using Kaizen. Every day, he learned 5 new words and used them in sentences. That's it, just 5 words. After 1 year, he knew over 1,800 new words and could express himself in almost any situation. Not because he studied for hours, but because he was consistent. The secret to Kaizen is patience. The results are invisible at first. You might feel like nothing is changing, but improvement is building quietly inside you. Just like a seed grows underground before it becomes a tree, your progress is forming even when you can't see it.
Imagine 2 people running a race. One keeps looking sideways, watching others. The other looks straight ahead, focusing only on the next step. Who do you think wins? Always the one who stays focused on their lane. Because the moment you look around, you slow down. That's what comparison does. It steals your energy, your time, and your confidence. Instead of comparing, measure your growth. Ask yourself, how was I speaking 3 months ago? How easily could I express my thoughts back then? You'll notice something powerful. You're not the same anymore. Maybe your grammar got sharper, your pronunciation clearer, or your confidence stronger. That's your progress, and it's worth celebrating. Here's a small story to remember. There was a young painter who admired a famous artist. Every day he looked at that artist's work and felt disappointed with his own. One day, his mentor told him, "Stop looking at his paintings. Look at yours from last year." When he did, he realized how much he had improved, how far he'd come without even noticing. From that day on, he stopped competing with others and started competing with himself. That's when he truly grew. So, here's a simple rule. Use others for inspiration, not comparison. Let their success remind you of what's possible, but not make you feel small. Your journey is yours alone. It doesn't need to look like anyone else's. Every word you learn, every mistake you correct, every sentence you dare to speak, it all matters. It's proof that you're moving forward. And as long as you keep moving, you are already winning your own race. Now, let's talk about something that separates dreamers from achievers. Discipline. Motivation is exciting, but it comes and goes like the weather. Discipline, however, stays. It's not emotional, it's a decision. It's what you rely on when you don't feel inspired. And here's the truth. The people who master anything, language, art, business, fitness, are not always the most talented. They're simply the ones who stay disciplined long enough to win. Discipline is doing what you said you would do, even when the feeling that made you say it is gone. It's waking up early to study English when your bed feels warm and your mind says, just one more hour. It's choosing to practice speaking even when you feel shy or tired. It's listening to that inner voice that says, keep going, when everything else says stop. It's being the disciplined person who knows the change is impossible until the discipline becomes habit. Think of discipline like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. At first, it feels hard, just like lifting weights. But the more you repeat small, consistent actions, the easier it becomes. Soon, you won't even think about it. It becomes part of who you are. You won't need to force yourself to study or practice. It will feel natural. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who wanted to become a great pianist. Every day, he practiced for only 30 minutes. But he did it without fail, no excuses. Rain or shine, tired or not, he showed up. A friend asked him, "How do you stay so disciplined?" The man smiled and said, "I don't think about playing perfectly. I just think about sitting down at the piano. Once I sit, the rest happens." That's the secret. Start first, and discipline will carry you through. In English learning, this works the same way. Don't tell yourself, "I need to study for 2 hours." Just say, "I'll study for 10 minutes." Because once you start, something magical happens. You'll keep going longer than you planned. The hardest part is not the work itself, it's starting. Discipline also means forgiving yourself when you fail, but not giving up. You might skip a day, get distracted, or feel unmotivated, and that's okay. What matters is that you come back. The most disciplined people aren't perfect. They just return faster after falling. If motivation is the spark, discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark fades. It's quiet, it's consistent, and it's powerful. You don't need to feel ready, you just need to begin. So, make a promise to yourself today. I will show up no matter what. I will not wait for motivation. I will rely on my discipline. Because one day, I'll look back and realize that every small, disciplined day was building the life I dreamed of. There comes a point in every journey where you start to face resistance. Not from the world, but from yourself. That quiet inner voice that says, "Maybe I'm not good enough," or "This is taking too long." This is where many people stop. Not because they can't do it, but because they start believing those doubts. But the truth is, that resistance is not your enemy. It's a sign that you're growing. Whenever you step outside your comfort zone, your mind tries to pull you back to what's familiar. It whispers fears, creates excuses, and makes you believe you're stuck. But growth always feels uncomfortable at first. Think of it like stretching a muscle. It hurts a little, but that pain means you're expanding. You're breaking old limits and making space for something new. When you start learning English, for example,
You might feel embarrassed when you speak. You'll make mistakes, forget words, and sometimes freeze mid-sentence. That's normal. Every fluent speaker you admire has gone through that same phase. They've stumbled, hesitated, and mispronounced words too. The difference is they didn't stop. They used their mistakes as teachers instead of proof of failure. Here's something to remember. Confidence is not built before you start. It's built while you struggle. Every mistake is a step toward mastery. Every time you try again after failing, your confidence grows a little stronger. So don't be afraid of mistakes. Be afraid of never trying.
There's a story about a sculptor who spent months carving a statue from a block of stone. One day, a man walked by and said, "You've been working on that same piece for so long. Don't you get tired?" The sculptor smiled and replied, "Every strike of my hammer may look small, but each one removes what doesn't belong." That's what growth looks like. Every effort, every correction, every uncomfortable moment, it's shaping you into who you're meant to be. So the next time you feel resistance, the doubt, the fear, the frustration, don't run from it. Recognize it. That's the moment you're being tested. That's the edge where most people quit, but also where real growth begins. Say this to yourself. This discomfort is my teacher. Because when you learn to move through fear instead of avoiding it, you become unstoppable. You start to realize that fear isn't there to stop you. It's there to show you what's worth doing. Keep pushing forward even when it feels uncomfortable. Because on the other side of that resistance, you'll find strength, confidence, and the kind of peace that only comes from knowing you didn't quit on yourself.
There's a powerful shift that happens when you stop chasing results and start falling in love with the process. Most people give up, not because they can't succeed, but because they get tired of waiting for visible progress. They study English for a few weeks and expect to sound fluent. They go to the gym for a month and expect a transformation. But true growth doesn't work like that. It hides for a while before it shows itself. Think of it like planting bamboo. In the first few years, nothing seems to happen. You water it, care for it, and wait, but the plant stays small. What you don't see is that underground, it's growing a massive root system strong enough to support its future height. Then, one day, suddenly, it shoots up several feet in just a few weeks. That's how success works. It's silent, invisible, and slow until it's not. When you start focusing on the process instead of the outcome, you begin to enjoy the journey. You stop asking, "When will I be fluent?" and start asking, "What can I learn today?" You stop counting mistakes and start appreciating how each mistake brings you closer to mastery. You stop waiting for success to make you happy, and you let the daily practice become the happiness.
Here's something powerful to think about. If you only feel proud when you reach the finish line, you'll spend most of your life unhappy. Because mastery has no finish line. There's always another level to reach, another word to learn, another skill to refine. That's why the people who truly master something don't rush. They fall in love with the doing, not just the result. Let's take an example. Imagine two English learners. The first one studies only to pass an exam. Once the exam is over, they stop practicing. The second one studies because they love discovering new words, understanding movies, and connecting with people in another language. Guess who becomes fluent?
the one who enjoys the process. Passion turns practice into play. So stop worrying about how long it's taking. Stop measuring your progress every minute. Just show up. Learn something new. Enjoy the rhythm of improvement, because the process is the point. It's where the magic happens. The truth is, success isn't a destination you arrive at. It's a direction you move in every single day. Every lesson, every mistake, every effort, it all adds up. So instead of asking, "When will I be done?" remind yourself, "I'm already becoming who I want to be."
When you fall in love with the process, you stop chasing time and start living in it. You become calm, consistent, and unstoppable because your joy no longer depends on the outcome. It comes from within, from knowing that every single day you are growing. Now, here's the final piece of the mastery puzzle. Learn, then teach. The moment you truly understand something is when you can explain it to someone else in simple words. You might read hundreds of pages, watch dozens of videos, or listen to 1,000 lessons, but until you can teach it, you haven't fully mastered it. Teaching forces your brain to organize knowledge, notice gaps, and make ideas clear. Think about it this way. If you learn 10 new English words but never use them, they fade. If you practice a sentence once and never explain it, it doesn't stick. But if you teach a friend, write it down in your own words, or even speak it to yourself aloud, you learn it twice as deeply. That's the secret behind real mastery.
Let me tell you a story. Richard Feynman, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, was famous not just for his genius, but for how he could explain the most complicated topics in physics to a child. He didn't just memorize formulas, he understood them so well that he could simplify them, tell stories, and make them understandable. Teaching was his tool for mastery, and it made him legendary. This works for English too. After you learn a new word, sentence structure, or pronunciation tip, try teaching it. Speak it out loud as if someone is learning from you. Write a short example and explain it in simple language. Record yourself. Share with a friend. The act of teaching locks the knowledge in your mind and builds confidence in your ability to use it. Teaching also shifts your mindset from being a student to being a creator. You stop waiting to be good enough. You start saying, "I know this, and I can share it." That's the transformation from learning to mastery, from consuming knowledge to producing it. So here's your challenge. For every new thing you learn, teach it in some way. Even for just 5 minutes a day, make yourself the teacher. Explain one English phrase, one grammar rule, one pronunciation tip, or one idea from a book. It doesn't have to be perfect. The act of explaining itself is what makes you grow. Finally, remember all the steps you've learned. Pick one skill and go all in. Show up daily. Embrace time and repetition. Improve 1% every day. Learn from true experts. Track your progress. Train in silence. Love the process and teach what you learn. Follow these, and the world will notice your results, even if you've built them quietly. Mastery is not about being seen. It's about becoming. It's about showing up when no one is watching, pushing through the hard days, and silently building skills that will make you unstoppable. Start today. Show up, focus, practice, teach. And one day, when people ask, "How did you get so good?" you'll smile quietly because you already know. You became it all in silence. You don't need to tell the world who you're becoming. Just become it. That's mastery, and it's waiting for you.